Welcome everybody, my name is Brendan Snyder. Thank you for joining me. Today we're going to remember Tony Lewis. He was born in 1957 and just passed away on October 20th of 2020. He was the lead singer and bassist for the 80s band The Outfield, and it was a sudden and unexpected passing. He died at the age of 62, no word yet on the causes, but the band that he was part of, The Outfield, they were a British band, and they had sort of a strange success story to them, one in which they found more success in America than in their own homeland. And perhaps it had to do with the name of the band itself, The Outfield, as a reference to American baseball. As you know, they always say baseball is America's favorite pastime. A lot of their albums had references to baseball, and I think that led a lot of people to believe that the band was an American band when in fact they were actually a British band. And so the band was comprised of course, Tony Lewis on bass and vocals, John Spinks on guitar, and Alan Jackman on drums. And they released their debut album called Play Deep in 1985, and this is the album that really kicked things off and hit big for them. It spawned the number 6 Billboard Hot 100 single, Your Love. It featured 3 other really big singles as well. Say It Isn't So, which is personally my favorite. I also really like the next one, All the Love, and then a 4th single, Every Time You Cry. All of these very successful, none of them as big as Your Love, but they did all help propel the album to triple platinum status. And so then at this point, the band followed up that album with 1987's Bangin'. And this one here featured the Billboard Top 40 single on it, Since You've Been Gone. And while the album itself wasn't as successful as the debut album was, it was certified gold in the end. And then their third album that they released, called Voices of Babylon, this album here came out in 1989, and it was the last album to feature their original drummer Alan Jackman until his return in 2009. And their next album, Diamond Days, which was released in 1990, returned them to the singles charts. They actually had a number 21 Billboard Hot 100 single called For You on it, which is a fantastic song. And then their final album before disbanding, 1992's Rock Eye, came out. And this one here had several songs that appeared in TVs and movies and things like that. So while there weren't any hit singles per se on it, there was enough stuff on it to bring notoriety, to keep it in the public eye. It's certainly how I knew about the album and whatnot. And it's a good album. It's definitely worth checking out. And so, unfortunately, by this point, 1992, with the changing in the musical climate and the waning of their popularity and things of that nature, the band did decide to call it a day. And they would later, though, towards the end of the 90s, start to get back together, play some shows, some one-off shows here and there, kind of sporadically and whatnot. And then in 1999, they released an odds and sods type compilation that gathered up old material from the earlier days. It's called Extra Innings. See how they, use another baseball reference there in doing that. And there was actually a couple new songs on there, so it made it worthwhile in picking up. And it's not just the typical throwaway affair. It's actually some really good hidden gems on that album, and I would recommend checking that out as well. But it wasn't until 2004, when they released the album Anytime Now, that they finally did an album of all brand new material. And it had been 12 long years since they actually had an album, a full album's worth of new material out. And then in 2009, original drummer Alan Jackman would return to the band, and together they would record and release what would become their final album, which was called Replay, and came out in 2011. And the reason for that is that unfortunately in 2014, guitarist John Spinks died of cancer at the age of 60, effectively ending the band The Outfield at that point. And not to be detoured, Tony Lewis, who certainly missed his friend John Spinks, and his partner in crime in terms of songwriting and everything within the band, did record and release a solo album called Out of the Darkness in 2018. And this album here is definitely sound and in the style of the Outfield material from the 80s. So if you're looking for that sort of thing and you want more of the Outfield, this solo album is definitely it. Check out Out of the Darkness, which came out in 2018, Tony Lewis solo release. Very, very good stuff there. But unfortunately, it would be his only solo record. As I mentioned, he suddenly and unexpectedly passed away on October 20th of 2020 at the age of 62, and no word on causes just yet. But with, Tony's fantastic pop sensibility and beautiful vocals, he's definitely going to be missed. But of course, his legacy and the music that he created with the band and even as a solo artist, will help his legacy live on. And certainly, our thoughts and prayers go out to his family at this time. Rest in peace, Tony Lewis. You will be missed, but you will be remembered. All right, I hope everyone enjoyed this, and if you did, leave me your thoughts and comments. Do you have any memories of Tony Lewis? Did you see the band, or any thoughts and memories on the Outfield? Unfortunately, I never got to see them live, but I certainly did grow up listening to them as a soundtrack to my life in the 80s. That music seemingly was everywhere on the radio and MTV and whatnot. So for me, it's that sort of a memory, but no less great memory to have of the band. All right, as I said, I hope you guys enjoyed this. Please let me know your thoughts and comments. Have a great day, and I'll talk to you all real soon. Bye-bye, everyone.